Hey, this is the national treasure, Nick Aldis, and you're listening to the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back to another edition of the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast. We are your hosts. He's a stallion. I am the enforcer, and we are in the middle of a fucking snowstorm again, Joe. Another foot coming to town, man. Bring it on. I'm not leaving the house or doing nothing but watching wrestling. At least that's what you got on the docket this Saturday. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, except for the wrestling part, the rest of it, I'm pretty sure, in terms of the snow and the pandemic, is probably what purgatory looks like. That's what I'm assuming. But we're gonna try to make the best of it. And yeah, man, full day of wrestling on Saturday. That's what I'm looking at. I'm just gonna watch really anything that I feel like. A little Ring of Honor, a little NXT, UK, maybe a little old school retro WrestleMania, and I'll get myself into the season. 'Tis the season. It's WrestleMania season.
Yeah, I'm up to WrestleMania 3. Can I ask a favor of you on Saturday of something to watch?
100%.
Can you watch New Japan Lions Break?
I can watch New Japan Lions Break. Yes.
Going to be Kenta versus John Moxley this Friday night. New Japan Strong. It's not called. Is it still called Lions Break? It's the American Show on Friday.
Right? I think it's New Japan Strong, I believe.
Yeah, New Japan Strong Lions Break was a tournament. Fuck me. I'm sorry. You know how hard it is to navigate the New Japan World website? Yes, you do. Okay, it's not easy. It's almost as difficult as navigating the Ring of Honor Club when you lock you out every 30 seconds.
You got to translate to English. That's the key. You translate NJPW World to English. That's how I roll.
I still do, and I still get fucking confused. And then it makes me put in the password. You know what? Regardless, I'm not going to... Did you hear the squeaking in the background?
A little bit. I mean, it sounds like a squeaky toy. Yep.
Yeah, it's a squeaky toy issue, or it was a squeaky toy. So here's what's going on this week. This week is a bit of a somber week, right? Because we had NXT TakeOver Judgment Vengeance St. Valentine's Day Massacre on... I always think it's on Saturday, and it's not on Saturday. It bumps me out. It used to be on Saturday when the pay-per-view, the events were on Sunday, but now they're on Sunday. So I don't love it. I kind of much prefer the Saturday show. I don't know about you, but regardless, the show was on Sunday, and I thought top to bottom, Joe, it was a great show. What did you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought all the matches were good to very good, and they did end up doing a pretty significant angle at the end, which I know we're gonna get into as the topic of today's show regarding the Undisputed Era. So there was definitely, I think, a lot more chatter coming out of the show on Sunday than maybe some of their past or more recent takeovers, which had good matches, but maybe not as much in the way of storyline development.
Did you see the ratings yet for this week's NXT show?
I did not see the ratings for NXT or AEW. I just got off of some work meetings. So if you know them and you want to share, I'm happy to take them.
I do. I'm going to read them to you live. I saw them before, but I want to make sure they are as close as possible. I don't want to be that guy. So NXT did 713,000 views. Is that up or down from what you would have expected?
Well, it's certainly up from their recent shows. I think probably coming off the takeover with the angle at the end with the Undisputed Era, that's probably, about where I would expect them to be. Maybe I would have expected a little bit higher, but for a non-themed show, probably about right.
AEW did 747,000 views, which means AEW beat out NXT by roughly 34,000 viewers, which is nothing. However, going forward, NXT, they gave us some stuff to look forward to, but most importantly, I think what came out of everything over the weekend was our topic today, and it's a tough one for me to swallow, Joe. It's the destruction of the Undisputed Era. How do you do this? U-E? Is it?
Yeah.
Did you do it right?
I think that's pretty close. Yeah.
What's it?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Is it this way?
I think it's I don't know how to use my fingers.
Undisputed.
So this, I think.
Remember when Kerry asked Adam Cole if he ever fucked it up, and he was like, no. That's pretty funny.
Adam Cole doesn't mess anything up, ever.
Baby! Yeah, so here's the deal. Adam Cole is a low-down, dirty, scumbag swine. Pat McAfee boy, I need a spit thing on here. Pat McAfee was right about Adam Cole from the beginning, Joe. We know Adam Cole will do anything it takes in the ring to get ahead, but I did not think he would take out his brother in arms. Kyle.
Well, I think, since they've been in NXT, they've been a very tight knit group, right? There was a very brief period of time, I think maybe in 2019, where there was some friction between Adam Cole and Roddy Strong, but that quickly was kind of brushed under the rug, and they ended up having the year where they all won championships that year. So they held all the titles in NXT, all the men's titles in NXT at that particular point in time. So the interesting part, I think people were speculating over the last several months, is with Kyle O'Reilly getting more of a singles push. He got a few matches against Finn Balor. There were several interviews I remember Adam Cole giving where he was in full support of Kyle going for the title, and that he just wanted it to be brought back to the Undisputed Era overall. And people were wondering, like, okay, is that legit? Are they going to stay as baby faces? Is he going to turn on him? Is it all setting things up? And, O'Reilly had 2 shots at Finn Balor. And unfortunately for fans of Kyle O'Reilly, such as ourselves, he did not win either of those matches, and Balor retained the NXT title. So, you were wondering, like, what's going to happen with, is Adam Cole going to go after the title? What's going to happen from there? And then Sunday, they went ahead and pulled the trigger on that after Finn Balor defeated Pete Dunne, Adam Cole, and the rest, and Roddy Strong and Peter Dunne. Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly came out to Finn Balor's defense and chased off Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, and Peter Dunne. And Adam Cole subsequently super kicked Finn Balor, which caused a little bit of an argument between him and Kyle. And then as Roddy tried to get in between them, Cole turned around and super kicked Kyle O'Reilly and then left as the show went off the air.
Yeah. Broke my heart. But, it's nothing we haven't seen before from Adam Cole. He super kicked Papa Briscoe in the face, Joe. There's nothing Adam Cole won't do. If you go back and you watch Adam Cole and Jay Briscoe in the Sirius XM studio, you know what? I knew it. I shouldn't have fucking trusted him. I should never have trusted Adam Cole. I put my faith in Adam Cole. He kicked me in the nuts, Joe. Kyle O'Reilly is... I think I'm ginormous fanboy Mark, whatever you want to call me. Kyle O'Reilly is as good of a singles wrestler as he is as a tag team wrestler, and there are very few people I think you could say that about. I love everything the guy does. I don't know. Let me ask you this, Joe. Do you buy Kyle O'Reilly as a singles star as much as you do as a tag team wrestler?
So for me personally, I would say yes, and that's because I've seen him wrestle in as a singles wrestler in Ring of Honor as well as PWG, and he's been world champion in both of those organizations. So just for me and watching him over the last several years, I would say yes. If you're talking about just an NXT,
go ahead.
They shot him up to the top like pretty quick. I think he won a gauntlet match or a elimination match or something like that, where he ended up being the survivor, and then he got the title shots, and he had great matches with Balor. But he's probably not, to me, in NXT at the level of where Adam Cole is as a consistent main eventer. He's kind of just gotten into that mix recently.
And Adam Cole's charisma, I think, Kyle O'Reilly is a white meat babyface, right? He is the definition of that, especially when he's on the mic. I don't know. He's got such a great story, and he's so incredibly likable. I hope that is enough to get him to that level where people will take him seriously as a main eventer. I don't know if it's the case. Kyle O'Reilly's strength has never been on the mic, right? Like, I'm not bashing the guy whatsoever. If you go back and you watch episodes of The Fish Tank with him and Bob, it's some of the funniest, wittiest, just most hilarious stuff in his mannerisms. But I don't know if that do you think that would convey to an audience like the NXT crowd?
I think so. They were pretty, they're pretty funny and over the top in those segments. And then when you look at some stuff that people have enjoyed on NXT recently, or the last whatever, the things that I think people really like, or at least what I've heard over the last couple of weeks, is the new Cameron Grimes gimmick, where he's kind of, we come into some money and
Stock market Grimes, baby.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's kind of being a little goofy in those skits. So I don't see any reason why you couldn't have similar segments like the fish tank where they're, arrogant heels or whatever it is that, and I'm sure people would enjoy that type of thing. I know I still would.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we still watch the episodes of the fish tank literally to this day. It looks like at the end of NXT, long story short, so the match was, as you alluded to before, Finn Balor, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly versus Lorcan, Birch, and Dune. Adam Cole comes out, super kicks Kyle, and then hits him with a suplexing brainbuster on the steps. Last night, I was up a little bit late because I was watching WrestleMania 3, because that's who I am as a person. And news broke via one of those fucking stupid dirt sheets that O'Reilly suffered a seizure. Did you hear this?
I did read something to that effect where some fans who were in attendance or people that were at the show were, indicating that based off of stuff that they saw, and they were tweeting out pictures. And so I did read about that today.
Yeah, and Triple H came out, and Kyle O'Reilly is a diabetic, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, he suffered a seizure. They shouldn't have done that." Blah blah blah. And it turns out, thankfully, like for like a half hour on Twitter and all the social media, while it was like thoughts and prayers to Kyle O'Reilly, he was fucking selling.
Yeah.
He was selling a brainbuster on the steps. And then my favorite part are people are like, they shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done the stretcher. You got worked, right, in 2021, and you're mad that Kyle O'Reilly sold this so well that you thought he was hurt, and you're like, rawr, they shouldn't have done that. Fuck you. That's good stuff. They never alluded to a seizure or anything. He got fucking brainbustered on the steps, and he was down and sold it, and the ref called for help. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. You know what you're not supposed to do? And I'm veering off for a second because it pissed me off. Moxley took Eddie Kingston's spinning back fist, completely no-sells it, hits Eddie with a clothesline and his finisher, and then gets up and he's on the rope and everything's fine. You just got spinning back fisted by Eddie Kingston. You fucking sell that move. Where was I? What was I talking about?
So, you talked about the end of NXT last night where Cole ended up hitting what amounted to a brainbuster on Kyle on the steps, and he did a stretcher job. And he did tweet today. I don't know if you saw Kyle's tweets.
I did see that because it's the fucking like assholes like Ryan Satin on the fucking dirt sheets. The creepy porn star, grocery store stalker guy, and all these people are like, "Oh, he had a seat." Don't fucking say that about people. There are idiots on the internet that believe everything. Yeah, and I was legit worried, like reading it, and they said like it was this diabetic thing, like whatever. I'm just had to get that off my chest. I think people are so stupid, but it looks like he might be taking some time off, right? That's kind of what that tweet alluded to today of what he said.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's going to need some time to recover. So, I don't know. I don't want to. I mean, we may as well fantasy book, right? That's what people do. Yeah, so maybe what they'll end up doing is, also at the end of the show, after all those attacks, Cole held up the NXT title, right? So to indicate he may be getting a chance at that sometime soon. So I could see a situation where he's challenging Finn Balor for that title, and maybe that's when Kyle comes back to cost him that, and then they can go ahead and feud into the summer. I could potentially see that being a situation that happens depending on how long Kyle is out for. But the two questions I had for you related to all of this is, one, so far what we've seen from Roderick Strong is that he's claiming that he had no idea that Adam Cole was going to do that, and that he wrestled last night as a babyface and teamed with Kyle and Finn. So my first question is, do you think he will remain as a babyface and continue to side with Kyle, or do you think that's going to flip and he's going to end up siding with Cole eventually?
I think at the end of the night last night, when he grabbed the belt from somebody and he went to go pick up Finn turned around, hit him with a Pele kick. That's going to be that tipping point that just drives the wedge between Roddy and Kyle. So I think Roddy's going heel, which I think might lead you to your second question here, but go ahead.
Right, which is Bob Fish.
What about Bob?
What about Bob Fish? So I know he's been hurt recently, and I don't know if he's ready to come back. We don't have that information. I don't know what this plan is for that. So when he does come back, do we assume that he will side with Kyle O'Reilly, his tag team partner for many years?
Yes, he has to. Yes, I'm so emotionally invested. Fucking great job, NXT. He has to side with Kyle. What we need at a takeover, main event, non-title, tag team match, Red Dragon versus Roddy and Adam Cole. It's happened before. It's happened in Ring of Honor. The match tore the house down. We need Bob Fish back. He's the wide-eye samurai, one half of Red Dragon. They will be chasing the dragon together. And then if you want to go your separate ways and Kyle wants to be a single star, I'm okay with that. Bob needs a place. Bob, he's 42, right? I think he's about 42 years old.
Somewhere in his early 40s, I believe, yes.
Bob's still a fucking stud. He's in great shape. He could put on a great match. Bob Fish needs to come back. He needs to save Kyle from himself because Kyle's going to get himself hurt. But we need Kyle and Bob, Red Dragon, versus Roddy and Adam Cole.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning that way as well. I'm hoping that's what they do. I think as shocking of a moment as it would be if Bobby Fish turned on Kyle O'Reilly or they were not together, I wouldn't do it. I think, like you said, doing a tag feud like that, there's a lot of legs that you can get, as going through the feud and having, 2 versus 2 or different combinations of things like that. For folks who are fans of Ring of Honor, they did a somewhat similar angle a few years back when both guys were there. I think it was 2016, I'm going to say, where Adam Cole had a brief run as a babyface, and he was teaming with Kyle O'Reilly again for a little while, and he ended up turning on Kyle when Kyle had a shot at the ROH Championship. I think it was against Jay Lethal, I want to say, and they ended up feuding for a lot of that year, culminating in the match at Final Battle where Kyle O'Reilly beat Adam Cole for the ROH title. We were there in New York City for that, so. It could be something similar that happens here. I don't know what titles will be in the mix, but, they've done these feuds in the past prior to NXT. So as you noted, all these guys are capable of having great matches. I think there's a lot of directions they could go, but I agree with what you stated, which is, having Roddy side with Cole and then Bobby Fish come back and side with Kyle. And you can do that, the feud where, ultimately Undisputed Era right now, we assume it's broken up, even though they're all still wearing the merch. We're assuming that they're split, right? We know Kyle and Cole are on opposite sides. We don't know exactly where Roddy stands yet, and Bobby Fish hasn't been on TV. So there's a lot of different ways that can go, over the next several months. But exactly, I'm invested just like you. I want to see what happens, and I want to see where it goes.
Most intriguing thing I think NXT has done in the last year, but also because of our emotional attachment to him. 2 things. Bob Fish is 44. Still in great shape, a little bit older than I thought he was, but can definitely come back and put on some good matches. And if you go to Ring of Honor Wrestling's YouTube, there's a free match. It's Throwback Thursday. Adam Cole and Roderick Strong versus Red Dragon. So go watch that. That's what these guys are capable of. I'm hurt, Joe, because I'm just also might have COVID. So it's excuse the coughing. Last thing I'm going to say, and then we'll get out of here because I know we wanted to keep this short. When you think about it, it's very easy to compare the United Era, the Undisputed Era, to the Four Horsemen, right? I mean,
saluting you, sir.
Yeah. So it's very easy to compare the Four Horsemen to the Undisputed Era. There are similarities between all of them. I mean, Kyle and Bob are Arn and Tully, Barry Windham-ish, Roderick Strong, superplexes, and Adam Cole and Ric Flair. I mean, it's almost like a black and white. The Four Horsemen were around they had a string of 3 years, 1985, late 85, early 86 through 88 when Arn and Tully left. Think about that. The Four Horsemen, the single greatest faction of all time, only around the core group for 3 years. The Undisputed Era has been around longer than the original iteration of the Four Horsemen. Isn't that insane when you look back on it?
It is. And I think that's actually what was going to lead to the last question that I had for you on this topic, which is, so related to that. These guys started together in NXT. I think it was August of 2017, I'm going to say. Hopefully I'm not wrong about that.
Yeah.
So it's been 3.5 years of them being consistently together. I know they added Roddy the following year, and so they've been together for a long time, without breakups or changing members, really, other than the addition of Roderick Strong in 2018. So, emotions aside, right? Because we're all upset about them breaking up because they're one of our favorite stables, the favorite stable I think they have going right now.
Fucking devastated.
Do you think, from a booking perspective in NXT, that this is the right move for that group to create fresh matchups and fresh feuds on NXT for the rest of this year? Or do you think that they still had more time that they should have spent together as baby faces before doing a breakup angle at a later point?
I think it was the right move, and I'm going to tell you why. I think that breaking up the Undisputed Era was the only thing you could do. The only other thing would be take them to the main roster as a whole, which would have been fine too, but they would have gotten completely buried. I'm okay with them breaking up the Undisputed Era, getting all of the matches out of the way that need to happen. And I think if they're all going to stay in NXT, as is the plan, a reformation at some point of the Undisputed Era would be bring the house down, big business at an arena full of people in front of 30,000. Music hits, something super kick, everybody does the symbol, lights go off NXT. Like that to me would be just a huge moment. But in order to get there, we have to do the breakup. And it fucking sucks and I hate it, but it's possible for this to be in the long run even bigger than it was right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's not a bad time to do it. It freshens things up a little bit. You make a great point about them potentially coming back together down the road, whether it's a year or two from now, or whatever, however long it is, and people really getting, you're getting a good pop for a reaction out of that. The only thing that I'm not gonna say that I didn't like about it, but and maybe it's just stuff that I missed on NXT, but I didn't really catch a lot of friction between Cole and O'Reilly recently, unless I maybe missed it on television. They kind of just had the situation where Cole kicked Balor, and then all of a sudden O'Reilly got pissed, and then he kicked him. So I would have maybe liked a little bit more of a slow burn to that, where like maybe they were having disagreements, and Cole's like, "All right, fine, we'll go with your way, whatever." And then Kyle didn't win the title, and then he was like, "All right, screw it. You didn't win the title. I'm going after Balor myself, and you're out. You're not getting the shot anymore," something like that. That's the only thing I think I maybe would have done a little differently, but from a shock value, it certainly worked for me because they weren't on the show at all, as you mentioned recently in one of our conversations. I think in the preview, Undisputed Era wasn't booked on this show for any matches, so it's like, well, where are they? So I wasn't expecting it to happen at Vengeance Day because they weren't even supposed to be in any matches, but they pulled it off at the end, so it did add that extra element of surprise.
I think it's a good point that you make. The only thing I did see was when Kyle went to help up Finn, he went over and Adam whispered something to Roddy, and then they did the pose, then the super kick. So,
okay.
Did you see that or no?
No, I didn't catch that. So, but maybe I'll go back
very
and
quick, like this, and like said like 2 or 3 words, and then went to do the pose. So I think Roddy was going to be in on it from the beginning. And Adam looked at it quick, and it was very reminiscent of like that Macho Man Hogan when Hogan picked up Liz and Macho was, and then they. I was talking to BK about this, and I said this is probably the closest thing to a Macho Hogan that they've done in a long time in terms of like length of story, because you can't book like you did back then, right? So like there's so many shows crammed into one. This has a long. It has that feeling of like it has that mega powers collide feeling. So I'm here for it. I'm here for the matches. We've seen a bunch of Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. Hunter came downstairs, and now he's gonna drink water and make weird noise. But the matches should be great. They should headline takeovers, and I still really want to see that Red Dragon versus Roddy and Kyle. Roddy and Adam. Fuck. Edit that out in post, right?
Hunter, yeah, I'll believe it.
He just knocked over his water. He knocked over the water bowl. Then he opened the bathroom door because the water bowl was empty. This fucking guy, unbelievable.
All right. Well, I guess we should probably go get Hunter some water then, and maybe you let everybody, if you don't mind, letting everybody know where they can find us on the interwebs.
Very, very easy. At All Night Long WP on everywhere you social media. Facebook.com/AllNightLongWP. Make sure you check out our friends over at Wrestling Headlines on YouTube. YouTube.com. Just search Wrestling Headlines on there. That's when you can find our shows. Give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, whatever they call it. Give it to us. We appreciate all your support. It's so good. I wish you could see what he's doing right now. We appreciate all your support. Thanks for stopping by another episode of the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast, and we are tapping out.
Best friends.